The shotgun blast echoed through the cornfields like God's own thunder, shattering the summer silence and Nicholas's world in one deafening crack. He was 12, frozen on the back porch of their sagging Iowa farmhouse, clutching a baseball glove slick with sweat, when he saw his sister Elizabeth charge into the fray. 16 and fierce, her blonde ponytail whipping like a battle flag as she shoved Tommy Hargrove away from him. "Touch my brother again, you Bible-thumping coward, and I'll bury you deeper than your daddy's hypocrisy," she screamed, her voice raw with a rage that made the older boys scatter like startled crows. But it was the blood, Tommy's nose gushing red, that sealed the hook in Nicholas's heart, binding him to her forever, even as the whispers started, "Freak family. The girl's as crazy as the faggot." Years later, under the neon haze of a Des Moines dive bar, Zachary's lips brushed Nicholas's ear, hot whiskey breath promising forever. "You're my anchor, Nick. In this storm of a life, you're the only damn thing keeping me from drowning." But as their fingers intertwined across the scarred oak table, Nicholas felt the lie coil in his gut like barbed wire, because Zachary's eyes, those storm-gray pools, flickered toward the door every time it swung open, chasing shadows Nicholas pretended not to see. That night, as rain lashed the motel window like accusations, Nicholas whispered back, "Then hold on tighter, Zach, or let me go before we both bleed out." Nicholas Harper had always known he was different, like a wildflower pushing through cracked concrete in the flat, unforgiving heartland of Iowa. The summer of '98, the one that ended with the shotgun, though it was just rock salt loaded for scarecrows, marked the beginning of the end for his family, or at least the illusion of it. Their farm sat on the edge of Eldridge, a speck of a town where cornstalks whispered secrets to the wind and Sunday sermons doubled as witch hunts. Pa was a hulking shadow of a man, all calluses and quiet fury, who fixed tractors by day and fixed his sons with glares that could curdle milk by night. Ma, soft as biscuit dough, baked pies for the church ladies while pretending the bruises on her arms were from tumbling in the hayloft. Elizabeth was the sun in that gray orbit, tall, freckled, with a laugh that could coax rainbows from thunderclouds. She was the one who taught Nicholas to skip stones across Cedar Creek, who braided wild grasses into crowns for his princess phase, without a hint of mockery. When the boys at school started circling, their taunts sharpening like switchblades, "Harper's got a boyfriend in the barn," it was Liz who stepped in first. That shotgun incident with Tommy Hargrove wasn't the opener. It was the finale of a summer-long siege. Tommy, the pastor's golden boy, had cornered Nicholas behind the bleachers after gym class, his fist cocked, spitting slurs about Nicholas's girly way of running, the soft curve of his wrists when he caught a fly ball. Nicholas hadn't fought back. He never did. He just curled into himself, tasting dirt and defeat, until Liz exploded onto the scene like a freight train. She didn't just shove Tommy. She grabbed a loose chunk of gravel and hurled it at his retreating back, screaming oaths that would make a sailor blush. "He's my blood, you hear me? Mine to protect." The school suspended her for a week, and Pa tanned her hide red that night, but Liz took it with a wink at Nicholas over breakfast the next morning. "Worth every welt, little bro family's thicker than that cow pie you call fear." But fear had roots, deep and thorny. Nicholas's difference wasn't just the way his heart stuttered around boys instead of girls, or how he'd linger too long in the comic shop, tracing the chiseled jaws of superheroes in the dim light. It was the mirror in the upstairs bathroom, fogged from Ma's endless showers, where he'd stare at his reflection and wonder why God had wired him wrong. Liz knew. She always knew. Late nights, when the house creaked like an old man's bones, she'd slip into his room with a flashlight and a bag of pilfered marshmallows, toasting them over the beam like a campfire confessional. "You're not broken, Nick," she'd say, her voice a fierce whisper against the quilt. "You're just you, and that's enough." She'd tell him stories of far-off places. San Francisco with its rainbow flags waving like promises. New York where folks loved who they loved without apology. "One day, we'll blow this popsicle stand," she'd vow, her green eyes fierce. "You and me against the world." The world struck back that fall. Whispers turned to shouts when Mrs. Hargrove caught Nicholas and his best friend Jamie, before Jamie ghosted him for the football team, holding hands under the oak tree at recess. Sodom and Gomorrah in our schoolyard, she wailed at the PTA meeting, her Bible thumping like a gavel. Pa came home reeking of Jim Beam, his belt already unbuckled. "What the hell's this I hear, boy?" he roared, and Nicholas, 14 now and still slight as a reed, stammered denials that tasted like ash. Liz was there again, barricading the bedroom door with her body. "He's a kid, Pa. Leave him be." Her voice cracked like thunder, but Pa shoved past, his rage a blind bull. The blows landed, on Nicholas, on the walls, on the fragile piece. But Liz fought like a lioness, clawing at Pa's shirt, drawing first blood. Ma hovered in the hall, wringing her apron, murmuring prayers that dissolved into sobs. That night, as Nicholas nursed a split lip in the dark, Liz bandaged him with trembling hands. "I won't let them break you," she promised. "Not ever." But promises are paper in a prairie fire. By senior year, Liz had changed. The fire in her eyes dimmed to embers. She dodged Nicholas's questions about her late nights, the lipstick stains on her collar that weren't Ma's shade. She was seeing someone. Whispers said it was that artsy girl from Davenport, the one with the tattooed arms and poetry books. But Liz shut down like a slammed door. "Mind your own, Nick," she'd snap, then soften with a hug that smelled of cigarette smoke and regret. The breaking point came at homecoming. Nicholas, dateless and aching, watched from the shadows as Liz slow danced with her beau. Their bodies too close, too knowing. Pa saw it too. The drive home was a graveyard of silence until he exploded in the driveway. "You're a disgrace, girl. Just like him." Liz didn't flinch. She packed a duffel that night, scrawled a note. "Love you forever. Little bro, chase your rainbows," and vanished into the November fog, hitchhiking west toward the city lights she dreamed of. Nicholas searched for her in every Greyhound station, every postcard that never came. Pa drank himself to a liver's grave 2 years later. Ma followed, withered by grief. Nicholas fled to Des Moines at 18, scraping by on diner shifts and community college dreams, burying Liz's ghost under layers of denial. He dated girls to prove something, to himself, to the memory of Pa's ghost, but it always ended in chaste goodbyes and hollow aches. Then came Zachary Kane, hurricane in human form. They met at a dive called the Rusty Nail, Nicholas nursing a flat beer after a shift, Zachary sliding onto the stool beside him with a grin sharp as shattered glass. "You look like you could use a real drink, cowboy," Zach said, his voice gravel and honey, Texas drawl wrapping around Nicholas like smoke. Zach was everything Nicholas wasn't. Broad-shouldered, tattooed from wrist to neck with swirling Celtic knots, a mechanic by day who fixed Harleys and hearts by night. He was out and proud, no apologies, with a laugh that filled rooms and eyes that saw straight through bullshit. One beer led to 3, then a walk under street lamps buzzing like fireflies. Zach's hand brushed Nicholas's, tentative, electric. "Ever wonder what it'd feel like to just let go?" Zach murmured, and Nicholas, heart hammering, nodded. Their first kiss was against a chain-link fence, tasting of rain and rebellion, Zach's stubble scraping like sandpaper on silk. "I've got you," Zach whispered, and for the first time, Nicholas believed it. They built a life in stolen moments. Greasy spoon breakfasts where Zach stole fries off Nicholas's plate, road trips to the Mississippi bluffs where they'd make love in the truck bed under star-pricked skies. Zach taught him to ride shotgun on his bike, wind whipping fears away. Nicholas taught Zach vulnerability, reading poetry by E. E. Cummings until Zach's tough guy facade cracked into tears. "You're my soft place, Nick," he'd say, tracing Nicholas's collarbone like a map to buried treasure. But storms brew in calm seas. Zach's past haunted him. Exes who wielded love like weapons. A family back in Austin that called him abomination and hung up the phone. He'd wake from nightmares, fists clenched, and Nicholas would soothe him with whispers of forever. Yet doubt gnawed. Zach's phone buzzed at odd hours, texts from old buddies that made him flinch. "Just work," he'd mutter, but Nicholas saw the shadows. The first crack came 6 months in at a pride rally in Iowa City. They marched hand in hand, rainbows fluttering like defiant flags, but Zach pulled away when a news van swung close. Not now, he hissed, and Nicholas's stomach twisted. That night, in their cramped apartment above the auto shop, Nicholas confronted him. Am I just your secret, Zach? Some phase until you bolt like Liz did. Zach's face crumpled. No, baby. Never. He dropped to his knees, pulling Nicholas close, their bodies a tangle of apologies and need. You're my everything. They made love fierce and slow, reclaiming trust in sweat-slicked sheets. But the seed was planted, betrayal's whisper, faint as a heartbeat. As winter bit deep, Nicholas threw himself into school, chasing a nursing degree like a lifeline. He volunteered at the local LGBTQ center, counseling kids who reminded him of his 12-year-old self, wide-eyed, wounded. It gets better, he'd tell them, echoing Liz's phantom voice. Zach supported him, showing up to fundraisers with grease under his nails and pride in his grin. Life felt whole, a patchwork quilt stitched with hope. Then, the call came on a Tuesday, gray skies weeping over Des Moines. An unknown number, a voice like cracked porcelain. Nicholas Harper? This is Alex, your nephew, Elizabeth's son. The world tilted. Liz had a son? After all these years? Alex's words tumbled out. 22, from Portland. Liz gone 6 months from cancer. A quiet thief in the night. She talked about you always. Said you were her hero. Nicholas's throat closed. He hadn't heard her name without pain in a decade. She left me this, Alex said. A box. And a letter. For when you're ready. Nicholas hung up, staring at the rain-streaked window, Zach's arms wrapping around him from behind. Who was that? Zach asked, voice soft. My past, Nicholas whispered. Come to collect. The box arrived 3 days later, UPS brown and unassuming, like a Pandora's parcel wrapped in butcher paper. Nicholas stared at it on the kitchen table, steam from his untouched coffee curling like ghosts. Zach hovered, brewing a fresh pot, his usual banter silenced by the weight in the air. You gonna open it, or just glare it to death? He finally asked, sliding a mug across the formica. Nicholas traced the return address, Portland, Oregon, a city of bridges and fog, worlds away from Eldridge's dust-choked roads. Liz hated surprises, he said, voice thick, called them God's cruel jokes. He sliced the tape with a butter knife, the cardboard sighing open like a reluctant confession. Inside, a shoebox overflowing with relics, faded Polaroids of them as kids, Liz with mud-streaked cheeks, hoisting Nicholas on her shoulders at the county fair. A pressed four-leaf clover from their first adventure to the creek. Ticket stubs from a bootleg screening of The Wizard of Oz in Davenport, where Liz had whispered, We're the Todos, Nick, loyal, but ready to chase shooting stars. At the bottom, a manila envelope sealed with yellowed tape, Liz's looping script, For My Little Rainbow, When the Storm Clears. Zach squeezed his shoulder. Read it, babe. She's waiting. Nicholas's hands shook as he broke the seal. The letter spilled out, pages crinkled from years of handling, ink faded but fierce. Dearest Nick, if you're reading this, I've probably kicked the bucket. Dramatic, right? Cancer's a bitch, but it couldn't touch what we had. I'm sorry, little bro, for leaving, for the silence. You think I ran because of you, because Pa's poison seeped in, made me ashamed of your beautiful, beating heart. God, no. I ran for me, for the girl I loved, the one with eyes like autumn leaves and a laugh that drowned out sermons. Her name was Riley. We met at a poetry slam in Iowa City, words weaving us tighter than any vow. But home was a cage, Nick. Pa's rage, Ma's whispers, the town's eyes like knives. I defended you because I saw myself in your mirror, scared, sparkling, queer as a $3 bill. I wanted to tell you, that night I left, I almost dragged you with me. But you were blooming, fragile. I thought distance would protect us both. Riley and I built a life in Portland. Coffee shops, rain-kissed walks, a son who has your smile. Alex, he's fire and gentle like us combined. I told him everything. About the shotgun summer, your courage, how you were my North Star. Don't hate me for the quiet years. I watched from afar, hacked your old MySpace, Don't judge. Cheered your nursing pins. You're a healer, Nick. That's always been you. Forgive me? Love me still? Chase your Zachary. Love loud like we dreamed. Rainbows aren't fragile, they bend, but they never break. Yours eternally, Liz. Tears blurred the ink. Hot tracks down Nicholas's cheeks. Zach read over his shoulder, his breath hitching. She was like us, he murmured, wonder threading his voice. All this time, Nicholas clutched the letter, a sob ripping free. She left because she was running to something, not away from me. Relief warred with grief, a tidal wave crashing through his chest. Zach pulled him close, rocking them both on the linoleum floor, the box forgotten amid the wreckage of what-ifs. Alex arrived a week later, stepping off the Greyhound like a specter from Liz's stories. Tall and lanky, with Liz's green eyes and a mop of auburn curls that caught the bus station fluorescence like fire. He carried a battered guitar case and a shy smile, extending a hand calloused from strings and struggle. Uncle Nick? You look just like her photos. Minus the freckles. Nicholas laughed, a watery bark, and enveloped him in a hug that smelled of Portland rain and familial ache. God, kid, you have no idea. They grabbed coffees at a corner diner, steam rising like peace offerings, and Alex spilled the years Nicholas had missed. Liz and Riley had settled in the Pearl District, a rainbow haven of breweries and bookshops. Alex grew up on folk tunes and feminist rants, Liz teaching him to bake Ma's apple pie, while Riley showed him chord progressions that echoed heartbeats. Mom never stopped talking about you, Alex said, stirring sugar into black brew. The brother who survived the fire. She said you were the brave one. Staying put, facing the ghosts. Nicholas sipped, scalding his tongue. Brave? I hid. Buried it all under straight-laced dates and denial. He glanced at Zach, who sat beside him, thumb tracing circles on his knee under the table. A silent anchor. Then this one crashed in. Reminded me what living feels like. Zach grinned, tipping an imaginary hat. Zachary Kane, troublemaker extraordinaire. Heard you're a musician. Play us something? Alex flushed but obliged later, back at the apartment, strumming a haunting melody on the fire escape as dusk bled purple over the skyline. The song was Liz's. Raw verses about sisters and secrets, chords that tugged at soul strings. Nicholas leaned against Zach, tears silent now, gratitude blooming like spring thaw. But harmony fractures. That night, as Alex crashed on the couch, Nicholas and Zach tangled in bed, bodies familiar yet fervent, fueled by the day's revelations. She's proud of you, Zach murmured against Nicholas's neck, hands mapping old trails. We both are. Nicholas arched, chasing the heat, whispering Liz's name like a prayer. Release came shattering, a catharsis that left them spent and sated. Morning brought normalcy or its illusion. Alex extended his stay, crashing for a month while job hunting, his presence a balm and a mirror. They toured Des Moines like tourists. The Papillon Sculpture Park, where abstract forms twisted like unspoken truths. The East Village's murals, vibrant as Liz's laugh. Zach bonded with him over engine grease and guitar riffs. The two strumming duets that filled the apartment with minor key magic. Yet undercurrents stirred. Zach's phone buzzed more. Late-night pings from clients that pulled him from bed, leaving Nicholas staring at ceiling cracks. Overtime, Zach would mutter, kissing his forehead before slipping out. Nicholas trusted, mostly, but Liz's letter echoed. Love loud. Was he? Or was fear still whispering? The betrayal brewed slow, a pot left too long on simmer. It boiled over at a center fundraiser, Nicholas's big night, speeches on queer youth resilience, Liz's box as a talisman in his pocket. Alex emceed, his voice steady, cracking only on the dedication. To aunts and uncles who fight invisible wars, this one's for Liz. The crowd, 200 strong, rainbows and allies, erupted in applause, Nicholas beaming from the wings. Zach was late, texted excuses, stuck at the shop. But when Nicholas spotted him in the crowd, arms slung casual around a stranger's waist, a lithe guy with ink-black hair and a predatory smile, the world narrowed to a pinprick. They slipped out a side door, Zach's laugh floating back like shrapnel. Nicholas's speech faltered, words blurring into static. He finished on autopilot, applause distant thunder, then bolted to the alley, retching against brick. Alex found him there, concern etching his face. "Uncle? What happened?" "Nothing," Nicholas gasped, wiping his mouth. "Just ghosts. But ghosts have teeth." That night, confrontation brewed. Zach stumbled in at 2 a.m., reeking of bourbon and betrayal, eyes glassy. "Missed the speech," he slurred, reaching for Nicholas. "Shop emergency." Nicholas shoved him back, Liz's letter crumpling in his fist. "Liar. I saw you. With him." The words hung venomous vines. Zach's face drained. "Nick, it's not." "Who is he, Zach?" "Another anchor, till the storm passes." Pain laced each syllable, years of Liz's absence fueling the fire. Zach deflated, sinking to the couch. "His name's Riley. Not her. Ironic, huh? Old hookup from Austin. In town for a bike rally. We talked. Drank. It didn't mean. Nicholas's voice rose, a whip crack. "You promised forever. And now? Sneaking out like some guilty teen." Alex stirred in the next room, but the dam broke. Zach's tears came hot, defensive. "I'm scared. Okay? This us, it's real. Too real. What if I fuck it up? Like my dad did, walking out on Mom for his secretary." I thought, one night, prove I could still walk away clean. Nicholas recoiled, the room spinning. "So I'm the test? The thing you don't leave." Laughter bubbled, bitter. "Liz left to live. You're leaving to hide." Zach lunged, grabbing his hands. "I love you, damn it. That's why it hurts." But Nicholas pulled free, the door slamming like finality. Dawn found him on the fire escape, Alex's guitar idle beside him, city lights blurring through tears. Betrayal's sting was old, familiar. Pa's belt, Liz's note, now Zach's fracture. Love loud, Liz urged from memory. But how, when echoes screamed unlovable? Alex joined him, two silhouettes against the glow. Mom said love's a battlefield. But she also said, fight for the ones worth the scars. Nicholas exhaled, smoke from an unlit cigarette. Is he? Your call, uncle. But don't let fear win. Not again. The fracture lines spiderwebbed through their days. A quiet earthquake reshaping the landscape. Nicholas moved through motions at the center. Intake forms for runaways, group circles where kids shared scars like trading cards. But his focus splintered, snagging on Zach's empty side of the bed. Alex filled the void, his easy rhythm a Liz echo. Morning pancakes charred at the edges, evenings debating Springsteen lyrics over cheap beer. Mom swore Thunder Road was her anthem, Alex said one night, strumming softly. Running toward love, not from it. Nicholas nodded, throat tight. She always was the dreamer. He hadn't spoken to Zach since the blowout. Texts unread, calls dodged. Zach's things lingered like accusations. A half-empty cologne bottle on the dresser, grease-stained work boots by the door. Nicholas packed them in a box, labeled return to sender, but couldn't bring himself to drop it at the shop. Work became refuge. At the hospital, where he'd landed a night shift gig in the ER, chaos drowned personal storms. Gunshot wounds from bar fights, overdoses from holiday blues, each stitched suture a metaphor for his own unraveling. One midnight, a kid no older than 16 rolled in, rainbow bracelet peeking from under the sheet, wrists laced with deliberate slices. Family found out, he mumbled as Nicholas cleaned the cuts, voice small. Dad said I'm dead to them. Nicholas's hands stilled, Liz's letter burning in his pocket. Hey, he said, meeting the boy's eyes, haunted mirrors of his own youth. You're not dead. You're here. And that's the start. He stayed past shift, holding space until social services arrived. The kid's grip on his hand, a lifeline thrown back. Word spread at the center. Nicholas's quiet heroism became legend. But heroes bleed. Sleepless nights twisted into what-ifs. What if Zach's slip was just that? A slip? What if forgiveness was the rainbow after betrayal's rain? Liz's words haunted. Bend, but don't break. Yet bending felt like breaking. Alex sensed the storm. Over a weekend hike in Ledges State Park, canyons carved by ancient floods, a fitting backdrop. They crested a bluff, wind whipping like confession. You love him, Alex stated, not questioned. As they paused at the overlook, Des Moines a distant sparkle. Nicholas chucked a pebble into the void. Loved, past tense. But the lie soured on his tongue. Alex lit a joint, Portland liberal through and through, passing it with a wry smile. Mom told me about her biggest regret, leaving without a fight. She wrote you that letter 100 times before sending it. Burned 99. Said the truth was too heavy for postcards. Nicholas inhaled, smoke-curling regrets. She think I'd hate her? Nah. She knew you'd understand. Queerness runs in veins, uncle. It's not shame. It's superpower. Alex's eyes, so like Liz's, softened. Zach fucked up. Big. But love's not a straight line. It's this. He gestured to the Serpentine River below. Twists, turns, floods. Worth navigating if the destination's home. Back in the city, reconciliation loomed like a thunderhead. Zach cornered him at the center's coffee hour. Eyes hollowed by regret, flannel rumpled. Nick, please. 5 minutes. Nicholas's pulse thrummed, but Alex's nod from across the room steadied him. Outside, under a sycamore shedding golden leaves, Zach spilled. I went to Austin. After. Needed to face the old man. Tell him why I left, why I'm staying. His voice cracked. He laughed, called me weak. But seeing you, you're my strength, Nick. That night was panic, not plan. I hate myself for it. Nicholas crossed arms, armor. Words, Zach. Always words. Show me. Zach nodded. Fierce. I'm in counseling. Queer affirming the works. And this. He thrust a folder, enrollment papers for community college, auto tech certification with a counseling minor. For kids like that boy you saved. Thought maybe I could fix engines and hearts. Vulnerability cracked Nicholas's walls. Why now? Because losing you? That's the real death. Zach stepped closer, not touching, waiting. I love you. Loud. If you'll let me prove it. The kiss, when it came, was tentative, testing bridges rebuilt on rubble. Nicholas pulled back, searching those gray eyes. Slow, he warned. Or not at all. Slow as you need, Zach vowed, and for the first time Nicholas believed. Reentry was jagged. Alex played buffer, his presence easing awkward dinners into laughter-laced truces. They triple-dated to a drag brunch. Glitter and gospel, mimosas flowing like forgiveness. Zach held Nicholas's hand under the table, thumb tracing sorry in Morse code. Nights blurred into rediscovery. Tentative touches evolving to urgent claims, bodies relearning trust in the dark. But Iowa's winters bite deep, unearthing buried bones. Holiday loomed, a minefield of memories. Nicholas dreaded Eldridge, the empty farmhouse sold to developers, Pa and Ma's graves under frost-laced sod. We don't have to go, Zach said, packing thermoses of spiked cider. We do, Nicholas replied. For Liz. Closures a ghost hunt. Alex drove, his rental car a time machine winding through snow-dusted fields. Eldridge greeted them gray and grudging. The diner where Liz once flipped burgers, the church steeple piercing clouds like judgment. They stopped at the cemetery first, wreaths wilting on weathered stones. Nicholas knelt at Ma's marker, tracing beloved mother, then pause. Taken too soon. You broke us, he whispered to the granite. But we mended. Liz's absence ached sharpest. No plot, her ashes scattered in Portland's rose gardens per her will. Alex placed a stone there in proxy, etched with a tiny rainbow. She'd hate the cold, he said, voice thick. Said Iowa winters were God's way of testing faith. Zach wrapped arms around Nicholas, solid as oak. Faith passes tests. The farmhouse site was a scar, bulldozed for a strip mall, cornfields paved to parking lots. They stood amid the ghosts, wind moaning through skeletal trees. "This was home," Nicholas said, voice raw. "And hell." Alex pulled a final gift from his pack. A cassette tape, labeled Liz's mixtape, for road trips and revelations. They played it in the car, speakers crackling with Joni Mitchell's Both Sides Now. Liz's scrawled liner notes. For Nick, see the clouds, feel the rain, chase the sun. Tears flowed free on the drive back, catharsis in four-part harmony. But fate's not done twisting. Midway, Zach's phone rang unknown. He answered, face draining. "What? No shit." He pulled over, knuckles white. "It's Riley, the ex. He crashed his bike. Bad. Hospital in Ames." Nicholas's gut clenched. Coincidence? Zach met his eyes steady. "Karma, maybe, but I'm going. Alone if you want." "No," Nicholas said, surprising himself. "Together. Liz taught me. Family faces storms." Amesar was a frenzy. Beeps and bleach, Riley pale under fluorescence, leg in a cast, ribs cracked. His eyes, when they landed on Nicholas, widened. "You, Zach's guy. Fuck. This is awkward." "Understatement," Nicholas replied, but no venom. Riley's story tumbled. Fleeing Austin toxicity, crashing Zach's rally night as a Hail Mary reconnection. "He shut me down flat," said his heart's moored elsewhere. A weak grin. "Lucky bastard." Zach lingered, guilt etching lines, but Nicholas pulled him aside. "Go easy on yourself. We're all exiles here." Outside, snow swirled, blanketing sins. "Thank you," Zach whispered, kissing Nicholas's temple, "for seeing me." Love's rebuild is incremental. Date nights at Hole in the Wall Ticarius, where Zach learned Nicholas's love language, acts, small and steadfast. He fixed the leaky faucet without prompting, left notes in lunch bags. "You're my safe harbor." Nicholas reciprocated, vulnerability's currency. Sharing Liz's letter aloud, voice steady. Spring thawed the ice. Alex landed a gig at a local coffeehouse. His set a tribute, Sisters and Survivors, folk punk anthems that packed the house. Nicholas and Zach front row, hands clasped, pride swelling as Alex dedicated the encore. To Liz, to Nick, to us, queer kin, unbreakable. But high tides crest. Memorial Day weekend, a letter arrived, postmarked Eldridge, from Mrs. Hargrove, ancient now, arthritic script trembling. Heard about Elizabeth. Tragic. But truth. Tommy's sorry. Come for the reunion. Make peace. Nicholas burned it in the sink, ashes swirling like exorcism. Some ghosts stay buried. Zach nodded, but seeds of doubt, old wounds reopening. That night, lovemaking turned frantic, edges sharp with unspoken fears. "You're mine," Zach growled, possession laced with plea. Nicholas held him after tracing tattoos. "Ours. Always." Yet the past prowls. Late June, Zach's shop called. A custom job for a big client, pulling him to Chicago for a week. "Video calls every night," he promised, kissing Nicholas fierce at the airport. "Love you to the moon." Nights alone, Nicholas dreamed of Liz, her running, not away, but toward him, arms open. Waking, he'd call Alex, their talks a lifeline. Nephew to uncle, survivor to survivor. The call came on day 4. Zach's number, but Riley's voice, broken. "Accident. Semi on the interstate. He's critical. ICU, Northwestern. Time fractured. Nicholas flu economy, terror's economy, Alex scraping funds for the ticket. Chicago loomed, steel and storm. Hospital halls a labyrinth of beeps and regret. Zach lay tubed and still, bruises blooming purple, machines whispering fragile. Riley waited in the hall, eyes red. He was rushing back. "For you." A pause. Heavy. "Said it on the phone. Tell Nick I'm sorry. And I love him." Nicholas collapsed into a chair, world narrowing to monitors. "Bend, don't break," Liz echoed. But bending to this? He held Zach's hand, cool and limp, praying to gods he'd long doubted. Vigil became ritual in that sterile ICU cube, Nicholas cathedraling prayers to beeping monitors, Alex shipping care packages of Portland roasted coffee and Liz's mixtape on loop. Riley hovered peripheral, a reluctant penitent, fetching vending machine snacks and small talk that skirted the elephant. His role in the fracture. I pushed too hard, he admitted one dawn, as nurses changed shifts. Thought I could rewrite our ending. Stupid. Nicholas, hollow-eyed from catnaps in vinyl chairs, managed a nod. Endings rewrite us all. No absolution but no acid, grief's too vast for grudges. Zach stirred on day 5, eyelids fluttering like moth wings. Nick, a rasp, oxygen masked. Here. Nicholas leaned in, thumb stroking knuckles. Scared the hell out of me, cowboy. A ghost smile. Worth it. To get home. Tubes muffled words, but eyes spoke volumes. Regret, resolve, raw love. Recovery was a gauntlet. Surgeries splicing bone to metal, physio sessions where Zach cursed through gritted teeth. Nicholas his crutch literal and figurative. They relocated to a sublet in Wicker Park, brownstone charm masking hospital proximity. Alex extending his stay, gigging at open mics to cover rent. Evenings blurred into triage. Zach's pain meds warring with Nicholas's shifts. Flown back to Des Moines for payroll, commuting like a yo-yo on frayed string. Tension simmered domestic. Zach, bedbound and bristly, snapped at small slights. Coffee's cold again. Regret instant but residue lingering. I'm useless, he'd mutter, staring at atrophied legs. Nicholas, bone-tired from double shifts, bit back retorts, you're alive. That's enough. But exhaustion breeds barbs. One night, over takeout low main cooling untouched, Zach lashed. You deserve better than this invalid. Go back to Iowa. Live. Nicholas's fork clattered. This? Us? Or the mess you made? Words escaped, unfiltered, Liz's abandonment flashing neon. She left too. When it got hard. Zach recoiled, morphine-glazed eyes sharpening. I'm not her. I chose you. Every damn day. He wheeled closer, grabbing Nicholas's hand. Fierce. Fractured. Even this. Crutches and all. Tears pricked. Then fight with me. Not against. Truce sealed in salt and silk. Nicholas curling into Zach's good side. Whispers weaving vows anew. Slow rebuild. Zach echoed their post-betrayal pact. But permanent. Alex mediated magic. His presence a Liz lingering grace. He organized rehab raves. Impromptu jam sessions in the living room. Guitar duets with Zach humming bass lines from his chair. One evening, post-physio triumph, first unassisted steps. Alex unveiled a surprise. A video call with Riley's crew from Austin, queer mechanics, tattooed and tough, toasting Zach's grit over screens. Family's chosen, Alex said, clinking virtual glasses. Blood's just the start. Summer scorched Chicago, humidity thick as unresolved. Nicholas's ER rotations intensified, gun violence spiking, pride wounds reopening in alleyways. A late shift, he stitched a drag queen's gash sequence. Her quip, honey, scars are just stories stitched sexy. Sticking like bomb. Back at the brownstone, Zach waited with candles and carryout, crutches propped like sentinels. Missed you, he'd say, pulling Nicholas onto his lap, careful claiming. Intimacy evolved, touches tentative, rediscovering contours past pain. Zach's hands, once rough with wrenches, now traced with reverence, mapping freckles like constellations. You're my masterpiece, he'd murmur, lips charting collarbones. Nicholas, yielding, found power in surrender. Love not conquest but communion. Orgasms crested soft, shattering. Waves, not tempests. Leaving them entwined, breaths sinking like heartbeats. But ghosts gossip. A package arrived mid-July, forwarded from Des Moines. Mrs. Hargrove's reunion invite, now a full dossier, old photos, Tommy's letter. I was wrong, Nick. Bullied the mirror of my own fears. Come home. Forgive. Zach read it aloud, brow furrowed. This Tommy. He reached out before. Nicholas shrugged, unease coiling. Once, drunk dial post-college. Apologized. I hung up. Closure. Zach probed. Gentle. Liz would say chase it. Nicholas burned it again. This time in the backyard fire pit. Flames devouring decades. Some fires don't need rekindling. August brought breakthroughs. Zach ditched crutches, limping into PT with swagger reborn. They road-tripped to Lake Michigan. Sand-swept shores, waves lapping like applause. Alex filmed a victory vlog. Goofy dances on dunes, Zach hoisting Nicholas' piggyback, laughter echoing free. That night, bonfire lit, they made love under stars. Urgent, unhurried. Zach's body whole again. Scars badges not burdens. Forever starts now, he panted, collapsing spent. Nicholas's name a mantra. Back in Chicago, Alex announced his departure. Portland calling, gigs and grief. You too? Solid as mom's pie crust. At the airport, hugs lingered. Nicholas pressing Liz's clover into his palm. Keep singing her story. You keep living yours. Alex grinned, boarding. Autumn gilded edges. Zach enrolled, classes clashing with shop hours but commitment ironclad. Nicholas advanced to charge nurse, his center talks now legend, the boy who bent rainbows. Dates dotted calendars. Art Institute wanderings, hand in hand among Monets. Jazz dives where Zach's two-step faltered but heart led. Yet winter's shadow loomed. Thanksgiving they hosted Riley. Awkward olive branch, his cast-off grin sheepish. Turkey charred, wine flowed, stories swapped like currency. To fuck-ups and fresh starts, Riley toasted, clinking with Zach. Nicholas watched, warmth unfurling, betrayal's ghost exorcised. But Iowa tugged. Eldridge's reunion peaked December. Mrs. Hargrove's pleas escalating, Tommy's dying. Cancer. Wants peace. Nicholas resisted, nightmares of shotguns and slurs replaying. Zach, ever anchor. Go. For you. I'll hold the fort. Flight booked, solo. Eldridge wintered harsh. Snowdrifts burying sins. Diner stools unchanged. Mrs. Hargrove met him at the motel. Frail as frost. Eyes milky. Thank you for coming. Her hand trembled on his arm, leading to hospice. Tommy, skeletal under quilts, oxygen hissing. Harper, a wheeze but eyes clear, regrets polish. I was poison, scared kid, lashing out. Your sister, she saved you. Wish I'd listened. Nicholas swallowed thorns. She saved me, but forgiveness? That's my load. Tommy nodded, tears tracking. Carry light then. Sorry's all I got. Mrs. Hargrove pressed a photo. Liz at prom, radiant, arm around a girl with autumn eyes. Elizabeth sent this. Before. Everything. Said you deserved the full picture. Nicholas pocketed it, fleeing snow-glazed streets. At the cemetery, fresh drifts blanketed graves. He traced Ma's stone. Then pause, words unspoken. We all bent. Some broke. Liz's phantom plot. Imagined roses. He laid the photo there, wind scattering petals of peace. Homebound, Chicago's lights welcomed like arms. Zach at baggage claim, sign scrawled. My rainbow returns. In the truck, Nicholas spilled. The hospice hush, Tommy's rasp, the photo's revelation. Riley, Liz's Riley? No coincidence of names, but echo profound. Zach pulled over, kissing him fierce. Proud of you, warrior. Christmas dawn domestic. Tree twinkling with mismatched ornaments. Alex zooming carols from Portland. Gifts unwrapped. Zach's leather jacket, monogrammed Harper Kane. Nicholas's engraved watch, time heals. Dinner. Roast beast. Liz's pie recipe. Laughter layering like glaze. New Year's. They toasted on the fire escape. To Ben's, not breaks. Fireworks bloomed. Zach dropping to one knee. Not ring, but promise. Marry me? When you're ready. Slow as forever. Nicholas pulled him up, yes in his kiss. Yes, all in. But fate's finale waits. Spring equinox. A call from Alex, voice shattered. Mom's tape. I digitized it. Final track. For you. Playback in the brownstone. Speakers humming. Liz's voice. Post-diagnosis. soft steel. Nick, if life's last act. No, I never left. Watched you bloom from afar, proud. Zachary, he's your storm, but storms nourish. Love him fierce. And remember, we're Harpers. We rise. Tears communal, Zach holding tight. She knew. She always did. Summer's zenith baked Chicago gold. Their life a tapestry rewoven. Threads of scar and sparkle intertwined. Zach's classes thrived, his thesis a hybrid beast. Automotive therapy for queer youth, shop sessions blending torque wrenches with talk circles. Nicholas mentored at the center, his Rainbow Resilience workshops waitlisted, kids crediting him with lifelines. You made me believe in after. Dates evolved ritual. Sunday spins on Lakeshore Drive, windows down, Zach's hand on Nicholas's thigh, wind singing freedom. Alex visited July 4th, fireworks over Navy Pier, his arm linked with a new beau, a barista named Kai with dimples and dreams. Portland's got rainbows too, he joked, but eyes shone Uncle Ward. You did it, Nick. Full circle. Picnics sprawled on checkered blankets, stories swirled like sparklers. Liz's escapades retold, Zach's Austin exorcism, Riley's redemption arc. Now clean, coaching AA meetings. Laughter crested waves, but undercurrents whispered legacy. Kids, Alex mused, Kai's head on his shoulder. Ever think? Nicholas glanced at Zach, grilling veggie skewers. Someday, surrogacy, maybe, pass the torch. Zach caught the thread, winking. Mini Harpers. Trouble doubled. Autumn whispered change. Zach's internship at a youth garage. Nicholas's promotion to ER supervisor. They bought rings, simple platinum bands, engraved bent together. Wedding planned for spring? Iowa no, Portland yes, Liz's roses presiding. Invites winged. Alex best man, Riley usher, redemption's nod, center kids as flower brigade. Winter's hush brought trials. Zach's leg twinged chronic, phantom pains flaring like old doubts. Nicholas's shifts stretched marathons, burnout's shadow lurking. One blizzard night, power out. They huddled by candlelight, frustrations fraying. I can't fix everything, Zach snapped, ice pack slipping. Not even us. Nicholas, chilled to marrow, fired back. Then stop trying. Be with me. Silence snowed thick, then thawed in admissions. Fears of inadequacy, echoes of Pa's rage, Liz's flight. We're enough, Nicholas vowed, foreheads touching. Flawed and full. Resolution bloomed fragile, fortified by therapy, couple sessions, queer lens sharpening edges. Spring equinox wedding dawned Portland perfect. Cherry blossoms confetti, Alex's vows officiating, Kai strumming Thunder Road. Liz's urn on the altar, ashes mingled with petals. Rings exchanged under vows handwritten. Zach's, you bent my storms to sunlight. Nicholas's, you held my rainbows unbroken. Vows sealed, kiss salt sweet, crowd erupting. Rainbows unfurled, family forged. Receptions spilled into rose gardens. Toasts toasting Liz. To defenders, dreamers, do-overs. Honeymoon. Big Sur Highway, coastal curves mirroring hearts. Surf crash symphonies. Cliffs cradled campsites where they made love under Big Dipper dips. Bodies seasoned, souls synced. This, Zach murmured, tracing wedding band glints, is forever's shape. Back stateside, life layered. Des Moines return, brownstone sold. New build in Wicker Park. Porch swing for stargazing. Garden for Liz's wildflowers. Zach's program launched, garage humming with hybrid healing. Nicholas's book deal, memoir bent rainbows. A queer heartland odyssey. Ink drying on pages of Pain to Power. Anniversary first. Alex gifted a crib surrogate match found. Journey to parenthood penciled. Aunt Liz would approve, he said, hugging fierce. But humanity's arc bends toward light, shadowed. 2 years wed, a call from Eldridge. Mrs. Hargrove passed, bequest to Nicholas. The farmhouse lot, reclaimed from developers, a meadow now. For peace, her lawyer said. Plant something. They drove, Zach's hand steady on gearshift. Meadow bloomed untamed, corn relics waving welcome. Nicholas scattered wildflower seeds. Liz's clover tucked in soil. Home, he whispered, Zach's arms encircling. Always was. In you. Decades turn. Son born, Elias Zachary Harper Kane. Green eyes, Liz's laugh. Center expanded, Zach's garage a haven. Alex, partnered permanent, visited with tales and tunes. Riley, sober sentinel, mentored Elias in wrench turns. Nicholas, gray threading temples, reflected in mirrors unbroken. Scars silvered, but shine undimmed. We bent, he thought, Elias on hip, Zach's kiss morning soft. And rose. In quiet moments, Liz's voice echoed mixtape faint. Love loud, little bro. They did fierce, flawed, familial. Rainbows, after all, arch eternal.